Hi, friends. Happy Thursday. Let's make sure we're up and running here. This new Facebook Live producer thing is pretty intense. I feel like a live producer when I'm getting ready to go live on Facebook. So it's been a long time. The house is quiet. Kiddos are at the park. Playground is closed, but they're riding bikes, getting some outdoor exercise with my awesome husband who's giving me some quiet time. And there's been something I wanted to share today, but I just haven't had the quiet time to do it, and so I do now. So I figured I'd hop on here and share just a process that I walked through this morning and a message that I listened to and kind of 3 or 4 points that I got from it. But overall, encouraging you to listen to this message, not just my snippet, but to really listen to it yourself and kind of feel what it's speaking to you and kind of what it's trying to tell you, because it was good stuff. So the message was by Steven Furtick, and if you don't know who he is a pastor in North Carolina at Elevation Church. And y'all, I had I was in a funk yesterday, and I know that I share openly and quite frequently about my faith and my journey and my relationship with God. But that does not mean my life is perfect. And one of the most important things that I really want to make sure I do, and that is not just sharing my faith journey and my whole process with that, but really sharing the tangible, because for so long I felt and heard, not from anyone specific, just it's how I took it, but that I thought I could just read something out of here and feel better, or that everything in here was great. Or that once I let Jesus into my life and started growing a relationship with him, that everything would just make sense and fall into place. And I don't ever want people to feel that way or think that life's easy just because I have a relationship with God. I want to encourage people to have a relationship with him because he's changed my life in a lot of different ways. And I really want to walk that out for people. So that is my goal in sharing this today, is not just things that I learned from listening to a message, but to show you how I process and how I kind of activate my faith every single day in order to keep my head straight, because I don't always do it well, but it is something that I'm always really aware of, that I have a faith and a relationship with God for a reason, and I have to put it into practice, on the daily. And yes, I had a life and years full of struggle and depression and really just in a really dark spot, but and it could have been easier, honestly, to stay there. But for me, the daily effort and the daily work that I have to put in order to keep myself out of that spot is so worth it. So I was like I said, in a funk yesterday. There were a couple events that happened that were unexpected, and plans changed, and just things were chaotic, or they felt chaotic. And I was in such a crummy mood all day. I was anxious. I was fearful. I was thinking of every bad situation or outcome possible through all these things that were going on in my life. And I quickly lost my focus. Yesterday, I let anxiety creep in. The fruit of my spirit was not good. And if you don't know, the fruit of the spirit is joy, kindness, peace, love, all of those things. And you Google fruit of the spirit and you'll kind of learn the different parts of it. But I was letting things that I could not control affect and impact my mind and my state of mind and my clarity. And so I was I've got to listen to something, because part of that, when I get in a mood or when I get a funk, or it's why I listen to worship music when I wake up, it's because I have to reset and I have to just be still. And so I was I need to listen to a message. So I hopped on the computer to listen to something yesterday. Long story short, I was in such a funk. I was I am not sitting here for an hour to listen to this. I have stuff to do. So I turned it off, and I had every intention to go back this morning and listen to the rest of that message, because it was good and I did want to finish it. But I hopped on YouTube, to where I go to all the churches that I listen to messages from, and Steven Furtick's was one of the first that I saw, and it was called Focus on the Fruit. And I was I don't know, I'm just going to start listening. I am cold, my chest is all. I'm going to start listening to this. So I started to listen to it, and I have 2 pages of notes, which is not usual for me. I usually just fill up 1 page. But it was so good. So I'm going to link that sermon. Whether you are into Jesus or not, you need to listen to it, because it is so good for everybody right now. And I want to share 3 or 4 points with you that spoke to me and really got me to focus on what I needed to focus on. So, point number 1 is that, so just really quickly, his whole sermon is about Paul, who was in a prison in Philippi, or did I say that right? I don't know. I'm not a biblical scholar. But he was writing a letter to a church to thank them for something while he was in prison. And just reading through, he kind of breaks it all down, because essentially we are kind of similar. We are in a prison right now, and a lot of people may feel that way. I know that we are slowly opening up, but it doesn't mean that everyone's like going crazy. And again, it was part of my frustration yesterday, because here we have a lot of things that are getting back to normal or getting back to routine, but then there's still a lot of people who are dealing with it in their face. We may not have it in South Carolina as bad as maybe other places do, but it's like I was so caught in the middle of going back and forth, like, oh my God, should I be freaked out? Should I be okay? Should our kids play ball on Monday? Like, why am I so stuck in the middle? And every time I read a post or watch the news, which is why I don't watch it anymore, or hear someone's experience or see a nurse posting a picture, like I'm feeling for them because I know the virus is real. But every time I see any bit of information, it sways my anxiety or fear one way or the other. And then I start losing my peace. And then I start questioning everything I'm doing as a mom, as a wife, as a business owner, like just back and forth. And it is exhausting. So this message helped me with that. Point number 1 that I'm going to share is that sometimes we're so anxious and so like ready to get to the next step. I know that I'm like, okay, when are we going to know why? Like, when are schools opening? When is baseball starting again? When is church going to be back to normal? Like, yada, yada, yada. I want to know the next step, like now, because then when I know what's coming, then I will be at peace. But oftentimes I see him do his best work when I am like a complete cluster, when I don't have the answers, when there are forces up against me that are keeping me from doing what I think I need to do. I mean, perfect example was when we made the decision to homeschool. Johnny Mothershead was totally against it. Like, we got in an argument and I was crying 5 minutes later, and that does not happen often. Like, we don't argue, and when we do, it's very quick, and I've learned to just be quiet because usually I'm the mean one. But I really wanted him to listen, and long story short, it was very quick, a very fast no, and go away. And I was in tears. And I walked through that process with God, and here we are today, and we both love homeschooling. So that whole like several months of going through the homeschooling process and questioning and trying to come up with a decision was not pretty. It was not certain. It was like chaos, emotional, stressful. But I now can look back and see all the work that God did in that moment. And even looking at the state of what we are in now, like, thank you, Jesus, for making me homeschool, because I would be losing it right now if I was thrown into this situation. So we cannot be anxious so much to the point where we are just thinking about the next step. Like, we need the outcome right now. We have to enjoy where we are, because a lot of times he does really crazy, amazing work. And something that Stephen Furtick said is that miracles are messy, and they are. Like, it can be the most painful, the most crazy situations that he does his best work in. The second thing that I really drew from it, my point 2, is that, and I'm just making sure I don't ramble forever, so I'm glancing at my notes I wrote down. But he says that Paul writes about how his clarity is not from his outcome. He doesn't know whether he's going to live or die. He's writing, again, a letter from prison. He doesn't care about that. His clarity comes from knowing that the presence of God is with him through the process. So in all of this, I have been going back and forth between anxious and at peace, or fearful and at peace, or yada, 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 back and forth. But I have to remember that me knowing what's happening next, or what's happening in 6 months, or walking through that with friends, my clarity and my peace, my joy, my fruit should not be dependent on the outcome of any of this. It should be dependent on knowing that I know where to find my peace, and I know where my joy can be found, and I know where I can find who I am. And it's all in here. So clarity is going to come from here, not from any news or facts or press conference or video. And I know that I haven't been the best at maybe some of that lately. Like I have gotten caught up in a lot of those things, but it's because we're trying to find answers and we're clinging for information and we want to make sense of all of this. But sometimes that's the worst thing that we can do because it keeps us from focusing on what we need to focus on or what I know as a Christian that I need to focus on. And then point 3, this one blew me away. A lot of times I feel like because I have faith, and some people may think this too, if they don't have a strong faith, maybe they look, they see this, but because I have a faith does not mean that I have all the answers or does not mean that I'm certain of what the future holds. The only thing I can be certain of is really today and my actions that I control. I can be certain of nothing else. And I love what Pastor Furtick said. He said, we are all unequally ignorant of what is next. Nobody, no expert, nobody can say what's next, like what the future is going to look like. We don't know, when baseball will start, or we may start baseball for the kids on Monday. In a week or two, they may see, oh, that was a bad idea, and we're shutting it back down. Like, we don't know. All we can do is do what we can with what we have right now. And I shared that the other day. Like, we cannot have a great plan for everything. We just have to do our best. And sometimes people are just doing their best, and that may change. My best may look completely different in a week or two from now. It just depends on my experiences and the world around me, like my direct, what's impacting me. And so I love that he pointed out that our clarity and our peace of mind, our joy, does not have to be dependent on the outcome of anything. It's dependent on knowing that the presence of God is with us through it all, in the process, regardless what. And I know that I have to keep in mind that he works all things for good. So no matter what next week looks like, or if I should be fearful of my kids getting sick if they go play ball, or, X, Y, Z, should I be going to Home Goods, or blah, blah, blah. Like, as soon as I let those thoughts cross into my mind, I'm losing my focus on what I should be focusing on. And so that was a major thing for me. And then the last thing he said that really just broke me down, and this is for all the mamas out there who are OCD with kids. It's really hard right now. I am a clean, tidy house kind of person. We have cleaning ladies that come in that are amazing, but I like things to be in its place. And I cannot go to bed at night until everything is in its place, because I want to wake up, I want to light the candles, I want to do my Bible study, and I want a clean house. I mop the floors every night with my little hardwood floor sleep. Like, it's ridiculous. And he said, it brought me to tears because it was, look, I'm getting choked up now, because it was good. He said, he was talking to a lady about watching her kids grow old. And she said, the one thing I wish that I didn't do was chase clean carpet. I wish I didn't chase clean carpet. And I was like, oh my God, I chase clean carpet. Like, I chase the perfectionism of the things around me. I'm not so much concerned about the way I look anymore. Like, I dress and I look good on days when I want to feel that way, but I don't do it because I'm worried about other people and what they think. I maybe do that for the house, because at the end of the day, I really, really would love to not have to sweep up every night or clean up toys or feel like I have to hound the kids and clean up your stuff, put this over there, put that over there. And I'm chasing clean carpet. And why? What does it matter? Why does it even matter? All of this is making us stop and slow down and think about, okay, what do I have to prioritize in my life and what should be important? This morning I saw a picture of a lady I used to work with who's actually, her son used to play for Johnny, and he is a great kid, and she is a great family. And I saw her out turkey hunting with her husband. And I was like, the first thing that I thought of was, wow, that is amazing. She would not be able to be doing that. They would not be able to be spending that time together right now if it wasn't for the season that we are in. And so I just encourage everyone to think about those points, but also to think about what is actually important. And for mamas, do we chase clean carpet? Like, am I chasing clean carpet? Absolutely. And what can I do to improve that? Because obviously I probably won't be able to just stop completely, because it's become an obsession of mine. But what can I put into place? What boundaries, what accountability systems can I put into place to make sure that I'm not chasing clean carpet in a way that's destructive to myself or to my family or to my kids? And so this is the reason why I listen to messages. As a Christian woman, I listen to these things because it convicts me and it gives me the ability to walk through things that I need to walk through. So again, my point in sharing all of this is to obviously, share some good words, some amazing sermon, that you definitely should go listen to. But that this is why I do what I do. I listen to these things every morning. I read the Bible. I listen to worship music, not because I have all the extra time in the world, but because it convicts me and it shows me areas of my life that I need to work on and improve, aka chasing clean carpet. And it also allows me to, get my focus back. Because with everything going on in the world right now, it's so easy to lose our focus. I don't turn on the TV and watch the news. I try not to read posts on Facebook that I know that are going to stir me up, in a fearful, anxious way. Yes, it's great to share our opinions and views, and all of that is so important if we want to make change. But there's also a lot of negative, nasty, anxious, fearful stuff that is out there, and I just try and scroll on by it, but it's not always easy to do. So focus on what you need to be focusing on, and focus on things that are going to improve your fruit, your joy, your peace, your happiness, your mindfulness, your kindness. And if they aren't doing those things, then get rid of them. If there's people in your Facebook feed that aren't doing those things, then delete them. Like, there's no reason for any of that in our lives, especially right now. So hopefully you found this encouraging and helpful as you try and walk through your own situation. And of course, if you don't know anything about a relationship with God, or living a life of faith, then you can reach out to me. I'm not an expert, but I can help put you with someone who can probably help you, or maybe some devotions or books that I have read that have been super helpful. So thanks for watching this video. Sorry it was a little bit longer, but I really just felt it was important to share that today, and someone else probably could hear it just like I did. Hope you guys have an awesome Thursday, and I'll see you later.